so many people just don't understand this, and they don't understand that your largest expense is taxes. And if I don't get more knowledge and understanding on this, that's where a lot of my money's going to go, is to the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, you can go buy a short-term rental and vacation property for you and your family.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Report. Today, we are in the studio here in downtown San Diego, and I got a couple special guests who just flew in from Dallas, Texas. They helped a team sail $100 million in revenue last year, and they help individuals level up in all aspects of life, family, friends, relationships, in all aspects of wealth. I got Adam Nelson and Braun Thewison. Adam, Braun, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, appreciate you guys coming all the way out. I know we first connected on Instagram, actually, when I was flying out to Argentina back in December. I missed my connecting flight from San Diego to Argentina, but I was connecting in Dallas-Fort Worth at DFW. The flight had like some maintenance issue going out. And literally, like, it sat on the tarmac for 2 hours, and my connection was 2 hours. And like, people were starting to get off the plane because I knew DFW to Argentina, there's only one flight. So I'm like, okay, well, rather than being stuck in DFW, I'm going to get off the flight. And as I was getting up, the pilot's like, hey, we're backing up. We got a tailwind. We're going to get you guys there quick. So we land. And I'm like, dude, I got 40 minutes to make the flight. And the terminal, like the next gate of my connecting flight was like literally the next terminal over. And I was like, okay, I got lucky. I'm going to make it. And we land. We literally sat on the tarmac for like 30 minutes. The pilot goes, hey, there's no gates open. I'm like, dude, really? So anyways, fast forward, I get a 24-hour layover. I put something on my Instagram story. I'm like, hey, anyone in Dallas want to connect? You DM me, and we started chatting, and now here you are.
I'm your Dallas connection, brother. And I tried to get you the Cowboys fit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, come work out in Jerry's world. That place is epic, but I know you had to get up and get on your flight.
Yeah, dude, I would have went there and checked it out. It looks like a pretty badass gym,
awesome.
Dude.
Yeah.
You said you saw was it A-Rod there recently?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. I tried to talk to him while he was there. It was awesome.
Dude, that's
Tebow's at the gym. You see Cowboys players. It's a really cool place.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, I was staying at the Grand Hyatt down there at the DFW airport. I've never seen an airport with a Grand Hyatt in the middle of the airport, but it literally has everything you need. They got a gym, they got rooftop pool, they got Wi-Fi, the office, all that sort of stuff, so you can get work done. But the best part is, like, when you're ready to catch your flight the next day, you just like take the elevator down, hit the terminal, it drops you right in the middle of the DFW terminal. You didn't go anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, so man, so much to cover here. Super intrigued by your guys' story and excited to learn about it. Tell us a little bit of what you guys do today. Kind of give us a snapshot.
Yeah. So Braun and I, we've been business partners for almost 20 years now, right? And now we're founders of this brand called Top 1%er.
Mm-hmm.
And that Top 1%er has kind of been a work in progress. It comes, if you understand what Top 1%er is, we got to go back the full 18 years of where we come from. You know, you see a lot of people that are successful like yourself, Rich, or any of your keynote speakers or guests that you've had on here. You know, you got Mikey Taylor, you got Chris Crone, Grant Cardone's, you got all these guys. And it's really hard to kind of understand life at their level. You see somebody up at the top, and it's almost hard to relate with somebody that's up at the top, right? And fortunately for Braun and I, we weren't fed by a silver spoon. Like, my dad's a rancher in Idaho, you know, he's a cattle farmer. And, you know, I didn't come from money, and I didn't have a path, or I didn't have an avenue to create income, right? I was one of those kids that went to college not knowing what I was going to do in life. And I thought if you're going to have a nice car, if you're going to have a nice house, you had to be a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, right? Yeah. And I think so many people listening to this podcast, they're asking those same questions, like, what is my vehicle? How am I going to get from A to B and creating a high quality of life, right? And so I found myself there, you know, 18 years ago, like Braun was in our early 20s at college, needing a vehicle, needing an avenue, a path. And we found that in sales.
Mm-hmm.
And so going to school out in Utah, man, Utah is kind of the capital of the world for these types of businesses, but there's these businesses offering door-to-door sales for college students. And anybody that goes to business school in the state of Utah, they have done door-to-door sales. You know, we're talking old school, traditional door-to-door sales like, you know, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, you know, Tony Robbins, all these guys that talk about their foundation of sales came from door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
And that's what we jumped into.
And why do you say business school in Utah, they definitely did door-to-door?
It's weird. It's just kind of anybody that is ambitious and wants to be an entrepreneur, It's just what it is in Utah. If you're going to be in business, you're going to be an entrepreneur, you will do summer sales. You will do door-to-door sales for somebody's company. Like, it's just
Mhm.
what all young entrepreneurs do in the state of Utah.
Where I grew up, they had Cutco knives,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
that
yeah.
was like the big door-to-door thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, people know that, and it's got a great reputation. If I want to learn sales skills and I want to be successful in life and I want to learn communication skills and make good money in college, I at least need this foundation, and I'm going to go do door-to-door sales while I'm in college.
Dude, I always tell everyone, I'm like, sales is the number one skill that you could learn.
Absolutely.
You know, everything that I'm doing today, whether it's raising money, or just bringing in revenue for the business in different formats, I'm like, dude, it's all sales. And it all goes back to, you know, my days in college when I sold cell phones at the mall. I was the guy at the kiosk selling cell phones before everyone had a cell phone. And then I went on to sell cars, and just those reps of just hustling and out there on the car lot and slanging stuff when I was, you know, 19, 20, 21 are paying dividends today.
Yes.
So anyway, so back to your story.
So, you know, as a young hustler, right, was
Yeah.
signing up for this, you know, I get into sales, and then eventually, once you get good enough at sales, you can get into sales management, which means you're hiring and training and developing other people and mentoring them in this world of sales. And I remember being, you know, 22 years old, and I just made $100,000, and my dad talking to me and being like, son, whatever you're doing, keep doing this. Like, you're gifted in this, right? And so I bought into it. I was like, this might be my vehicle, sales, right? And I'm going to build this. Fast forward 18 years later of just kind of living by these principles and forming these habits and seeing people before me that are more successful than me, you know, with these habits and principles that they're living by, applying those in my own life, that stacked up day after day after day, and stacking those good principles and habits over the years, we've been able to build our sales organization that goes out 450 sales guys doing over $100 million in revenue. We'll do over $120 million in revenue this year through these young college-age kids that are learning and growing in sales themselves.
Wow. And this is all door-to-door stuff.
It's all door-to-door.
Got it. And so when you guys first started, what was the number that you guys were doing sales-wise? I mean, you mentioned 100 million last year, 120 next year, or this year, 2024. When you guys first started, was that the case?
No, not at all. Like it,
and you guys were the ones going door to door?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were the ones going door to door. And, you know, at first, you know, you get paid for what you do, right? And you going in and you're the one that's just hustling. And my first goal was to go make 20 grand in a summer. I thought that was life-changing money. And I was able to go in and make 65 grand my very first summer doing door-to-door sales, which opened up my mind a little bit of what the possibilities of just, you know, contacting a customer, overcoming objections, closing a sale. But then immediately my next summer I go out and I make $100,000, and now I'm making professional income, making really good money in college. And I see people that are more successful than I am, that are further on in their careers than I was, buying and investing in real estate. And so immediately I see that and I'm like, okay, I got money. I should probably buy real estate. And so I buy my first rental property at the age of 22 years old. I buy a condo right there by my college campus in Utah, and I jump into real estate.
Wow. So, you know, I think with real estate investing, you know, it's a great vehicle to build long-term wealth. You get the tax benefits, you get to utilize debt, which over time, you know, compounds, and rents always go up over time.
When you first start out in life in general, you're trying to figure out, how am I going to afford this, afford that? And the first thing you're thinking about is money. You're always thinking about the money aspect. And then there becomes a stage in life when if you've been successful enough, you've made that enough money to cover your expenses and more. And it's no longer how much money can I make? It then becomes how many people can I educate? And what can I do to bless and help the lives of other people? And that, I think if you're going to go invest in real estate, like you mentioned, the best way to do that is if you have a sound life in general, right? You can, if you make okay money, but you're failing in a lot of areas of life, you're not going to attract the right people to get those right kind of deals to go and find a great avenue for success in real estate. And so I think there's more to what we're put on this earth for than just money. That covers a lot of aspects, and you have to have those things intact to be successful. I think not just real estate, but anything.
Adam, what was your biggest takeaway, like looking back, you bought the condo age 22. Was that something that you thought that today would you do the same move?
Yeah.
You
So
would.
for sure. So 22, no answers, no clue what I'm doing in real estate. Like Bron said, I had a good foundation I had good income now.
Mm-hmm.
I had good habits. I had a can do, will do mindset. Like I'll figure it out on the way kind of mentality, which I think all successful people in real estate kind of have that mindset. Like I'll figure it out along the way because nobody has all the answers when they're getting started.
100%.
Right. And sales was that exact same thing. I signed up, go out to make 20 grand. I make 60 grand my first summer, right? Same year, 100 grand the second year. But going into real estate, that first deal, I did not know if it was a good deal or a great deal. I just knew it was close to campus. I was paying rent already right next to this property. So I might as well own it and house hack it and rent it out to my buddies, right? Like I had 5 other roommates that lived with me. So I lived rent free for all of college. So I'm living rent free. This is a good deal for me, right? Little did I know this was going to be the worst investment I could possibly make, but the best investment I can make as my first property. So 2009, when this is all happening, the real estate market crashes, right? So immediately when I buy this property for $380,000, I did a stated income loan on this property, did 2 different mortgages on this. So I had no idea what I'm doing with this first property. It loses about $160,000 in revenue or in value that year, right? The property goes down $160,000 in value. Most people, I think that's kind of their biggest fear is what if I buy this property and it goes down in value with the market and industry we're in right now, with everything with real estate going up and down. I buy this property, it goes down in value, 160 grand. And
what'd you buy it for?
I bought it for 380,000.
Okay, so it goes down about 50%.
So the market's crashing in 2009, right? And it's just tanking. And bad loans everywhere. They're giving college kids on stated income a loan, right? With 2 mortgages. One was at a 6%, one was at like an 8.5% interest on those mortgages. And at the end of the day, when rents adjusted, I was still able to cash flow, make about $100, $200, which would cover my expenses and repairs and stuff on the property. But then fast forward 10 years later, right? Even though that property lost $160,000, that property is now up about $250,000, right?
Right.
And now I have a principal pay down that I've been paying down over the last 10 years. I've been getting some cash flow, some tax benefits. I take that, I 1031 that into an apartment complex, and I get my first apartment complex from this property I bought 10 years later that depreciated in value the second I bought it, right? It ended up being a good story.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you held it long term.
You had to hold on to it long term.
Yeah.
Right.
And I always say, like, in order to, hold real estate long term, you got to have some sort of cash flow. And so it sounds like with the house hack, did you do the house hack for like long term?
Yeah, I did it for long term. So I lived in it for 3 years till I got married.
Yeah.
And just rented out to my roommates.
And then I also say, like, hey, if, people try to time the market all the time and they're like, hey, is this a good time to buy? I get this question all the time. And it's like, well, it depends. How long do you plan to own the asset? If you plan to get out of it in a year or 2, well, then timing matters big time.
Yeah.
But in your scenario, it's like, well, if you're going to hold it 10 years, you saw the probably the greatest, they call it the Great Recession, probably the biggest price drop that we'll ever see in American history in a short period of time. And you came out the other end and made out good because you weren't tied down to this short turnaround.
Correct. I didn't need to get rid of the property. I was able to weather the storm. A lot of people that folded under and lost their properties was, 1, they had variable interest rates, which I didn't have, luckily, and 2, they weren't able to cash flow. They were negative on their cash flow. And so, luckily for me, I was still up $100, $200 of cash flow and able to hold on to that property and weather the storm.
Yeah.
And hold on to that for 10 years, which turned out into a great real estate deal for me now. And, now I have 2 properties and have 10 different doors from that one investment I make at the age of 22 years old.
I love that. So looking back, I think the house hack does make sense. Would you agree that, like, no matter where you are financially, if you can afford to get into a home, house hack it, it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, 100%. 5% down, get anybody can save up 5%, either rent out a basement, rent out a couple rooms. You're going to be paying rent anywhere, or you're going to be paying rent anyways somewhere else. I feel like if you can get a good property at 5% down, house hack it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, where I disagree is if you're going to sink 20% down into a rental You're not going to house hack it, and you're going to put a tenant in there and maybe cash flow $100 a month. Ooh, now the opportunity cost at 20% down to where you could be using that
Correct.
to pick up skills, to multiply your current income, or use that money to invest into a business or a startup. That's a huge opportunity cost, right?
Yep.
If you love real estate investing, passive income, and tax benefits, but don't have the time, my company, Summers Capital, is buying boutique hotels right now. We source the deals, we renovate the properties, and we even handle all the day-to-day management, making it truly hands-off for our investors. If you want to learn more to see if we can help you, visit summerscapital.com/invest to book a call with our team. Again, that's summerscapital.com/invest. Now back to the show. So what would you say was like the biggest key to you during those years? Was it the real estate, or was it learning all these sales skills in terms of like getting you to where you are today?
I mean, I'll let Bron answer this one too, but for me, looking back, hindsight 2020 is a funny thing. I'm 40 years old now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's incredibly important to us to be able to look back and see where we've come and seeing what were kind of like these milestone moments in our lives. And a lot of times you can look back in life and be like, man, when I made that decision not to quit, or when I made that decision to push through, or when I made that decision to buy that property, or when I made that decision to roll that equity into another property, like these were big moments in our lives that shaped the level of success that we have right now. But most people don't have that luxury to look back and see what shaped their lives. They're still trying to figure that out right now. So for me, you know, I think going back, the thing that really shaped my life was getting into sales and choosing my vehicle, that this was going to be my active source of income. And I was going to figure out how to increase my income as much as I could. And I saw potential. I saw that I could grow this thing to 500,000 a year, or even potentially getting it to $1 million a year and surpassing that. Right. And I saw this opportunity. If I grow my sales team and I grow my sales organization. Now, the bigger problem I have now that I'm making professional income is, how do I offset my largest expense in life, which is my taxes?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where real estate came in. That was along the way where it made sense, where I was increasing my income and I was becoming a better person. I was forming good habits and living by good principles. Now my biggest problem is I'm making professional income. How do I offset my taxable income? And the best way to do that is through real estate. Right. And doing cost segregation studies and getting my taxable income down to as close to zero as possible. Which is, all of it coming together full circle.
Yep. And so tell us, like, what do you own in the real estate space? Like, what does your portfolio look like today?
You want to go through that one, Bron?
Both of us have gotten in our own single family, multifamily, but the one we're kind of focusing on right now that we love is the short-term rental. We've invested all of our the money that we wanted to put into real estate into 3 short-term rental places in Oklahoma.
Okay,
we
nice.
love
Which
them.
market in Oklahoma?
Broken Bow.
Broken Bow.
Yeah,
Okay, nice,
Broken Bow.
nice. That's a good vacation market. I know that.
Yeah. Don't tell everybody, because it's kind of.
I think the cat's already
there's a
out of
little
the bag.
secret sauce over there.
It is out of the bag.
We love it. We've researched multiple different places all over the United States, and it's been hard to find.
Mhm.
It's really hard to find the ROIs that we can get there.
Yeah. And so I've never been to Broken Bow, but I believe it's a popular destination for like people living in Oklahoma City, but also Dallas, right?
Yeah, so here's the thing. So Bron owned a vacation home in St. George, Utah
Okay.
already.
Love that market.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great place.
And I wanted a vacation home, not for just being on Airbnb and doing that, but just for my family. I was like, okay, I want to be like Bron. I want to have this vacation home. And I've been telling Bron I want to buy a cabin up in Oklahoma, because being in Dallas, that's where you can go get away to the lake and that kind of stuff, and have my boat up there and have a boat on the slip. Like I had this mindset of what it was going to be. And Bron was doing taxes one day with his tax advisor, and he found out he needed to buy more assets to offset his taxable income, or he's going to be paying a couple $100,000 in taxes, right? So Bron calls me. He's like, "Are you serious about buying a vacation property in Broken Bow?" And I was like,
It's like,
yes,
I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah.
let's do it.
And we have 2 months.
Yeah, we have 2 months to close. Like he has to close by the end of the year. And so I was like, yeah, I've already had my eyes up there. Like I already know exactly where I'd buy one. So we shot Broken Bow. We pulled the trigger on our first cabin. And the mindset behind our first cabin wasn't necessarily, dude, this is a business. We're going to make a ton of cash flow off this thing. It was, hey, Adam's getting a vacation home. We're going to both save a ton of money on our taxes. And when I'm not using it, I'm going to be able to cash flow it, you know, when my family's not using it.
Dude, I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you have high active income and you need some depreciation or you need some tax benefits, I'm like, dude, the short-term rental loophole is like the best thing you could do. Even if you're not cash flowing, even if you're breaking even,
Yes.
you're going to have a place to stay every now and then if you want to go vacation for free. But then the tax break that you're going to receive is tremendous. And then you
That's
can use
huge.
the savings to go buy more real estate,
Yep.
you know?
Dude, and this is where it's gotten crazy is the first one was just like for fun, right? For us for me to have a vacation property and get my boat up there and that kind of stuff. Second one was like, hey, I think this one's going to cash flow. Like, let's buy it. And then we buy our third one. Hey, this one's a sweet property with a view. It's going to cash flow. All of a sudden, people are blowing up our inboxes on how do I buy short-term rentals, right? And we can't answer phone calls and take everybody to lunch to do short-term rentals. So, you know, I have a friend of mine, close friend, and he's making close to $2 million owning his, he's an orthodontist and has got a couple practices, but I know he's paying like $300,000 in taxes still. And he's like, I was like, why are you not buying short-term rentals? Why don't you have a cabin up in Broken Bow? And you need to change your CPA and get a tax strategist. Like, let's figure this out. You shouldn't be paying $300,000 in taxes.
Right.
And sure enough, he, you know, buys a property in Broken Bow, gets listed on Airbnb, gets it rented, use the short-term rental loophole, right? And changes CPAs, gets a tax strategist, and starts understanding what these different tax strategies are. I loved your podcast that you did, you know, with the different tax strategies and understanding the tax codes.
Appreciate you, bro.
He starts learning the tax codes and understanding the purpose of the tax codes. And I get a text message, you know, 6 months after this, after he's bought his property and done all this stuff, and I've kind of mentored him through this, saying, dude, thank you. This is the first year I've gotten a tax return.
Wow.
You know,
That's
right?
crazy.
Paid $0 in taxes and actually got a return as an orthodontist.
Wow.
So many people just don't understand this, and they don't understand that your largest expense is taxes. And if I don't get more knowledge and understanding on this, that's where a lot of my money's going to go, is to the IRS. Instead, you can go buy a short-term rental and vacation property for you and your family.
Dude, you're exactly right, man. And people, what most people don't realize, most people think real estate is about the cash flow, but I'm like, no, real estate is about debt and taxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
You know, you can understand debt. You know, you refinance these properties, you take on more debt. That's not taxable, right?
Yep.
But you can go take that money and you can roll it into more real estate. You don't have to pay taxes on the debt. And then you can leverage that stuff to get all this tax benefits. You put a portion down, but you get to depreciate. You know, last year was 80% bonus depreciation to offset all your income, which is massive. And so I think when you understand those two things, real estate is ultimately about debt and taxes. It's a game changer.
Absolutely. And ultimately our net worth is grown and multiplied through this real estate. We're not really through the cash flow of the real estate. Everybody wants the passive income. Passive income's awesome. But really where our net worth is grown and expanded is through the appreciation of real estate and the principal pay down. And that's just such a powerful compounding tool that people don't even realize, you know, where I can buy these properties, hold on to them for 10 years, and all of a sudden net worth is, you know, multiplied into the millions of dollars. And that's where all these millionaires are making it through real estate.
100%. And then you take it a step further, you factor in the principal pay down, like you alluded to, the cash flow, and now you got all these different buckets and the long-term appreciation. And then you do that over and over for decades and decades, it starts to compound.
Yep.
Yeah, it's something that's very powerful that a lot of folks don't realize, you know?
Yeah.
So tell me what you guys are doing with the top 1%er. I know you guys rolled out this product not too long ago. Tell us what you're doing with that.
Yeah. So it's anyways, we rolled out a 90-day planner.
Okay.
And we, over the years and years, we've been mentored by people who are super successful. And we've always been planners and wanting to make sure that we live our lives intentionally rather than letting life happen to us. And I have been through planner after planner after planner, and a lot of them just didn't have the things in there that I would have felt. I felt they're really necessary. And so, Adam and I, it was crazy. We, over 15, 20 years of life, we've learned what we believe should be in a planner. And I flew to Dallas. We sat there, we brainstormed for 3 days, and then worked on it for about 2 years. And we just released it this week.
Nice.
And it's not just a planner. What I love about it is it's got over 30 challenges inside to focus on the 6 most important areas of life: money, craft, mind, people, body, spirit. And when you take those pillars of life and you intentionally focus on them over a short period of 90 days, you can transform who you are. You really can if you are intentional about it. So this planner does that, and it helps people transform who they are to who they want to be.
Dude, I love that. Can you break down those pillars again?
Yeah. So money, craft, mind, body, and people and spirit. So money is financial.
Okay.
Craft is your work, whatever it is you're doing for work.
How you make money.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Your mind is the mental game, your education in life, like always increasing your brain as a muscle. Body is your physical aspect of life, right?
Yeah.
People is your relationships.
Okay.
And then spirit is, for us, it's a religious aspect, but that's not the same for everybody, right? It could be just becoming very in tune with who you are as an individual, right?
Yeah.
That's spirit. That's what it's about. So I believe that if you can have balance in these, you can live such an incredible life. At the beginning of the planner, we put an evaluation in there, and in that evaluation, you go through and you run through a series of questions, and at the end, it pops out a percentage, and you get a visual of how you are doing in each one of those pillars. And then over the next 90 days, you can focus on the ones that you're deficient in.
Okay. So I love that, by the way. Those 6 pillars are pretty cool.
Another aspect I think that's so important in life is gratitude.
Mm.
I don't think we realize the power that gratitude has. And
Elaborate.
Well, so the other day, last month, I grabbed a little journal or whatever and just named it my gratitude journal. And I asked my boys if they wanted to do it. And they said, yeah, we wanted to. And so every night we write 2 things down that we're grateful for that happened that specific day. And we don't catch up on other days. So if we miss it, we just move on, because it incentivizes us. We don't like missing days. So my boys are always like, oh, I gotta go write my gratitude journal. I gotta go get this done.
Mm.
But when you see that, when you see how grateful people are, the things that they think they need in life start disappearing, because they really don't need all the stuff, right? There's a lot of stuff in life we think we need, but when we think about the people that don't have what we have, no matter what it is, you can be rich or poor, it doesn't matter, but you have a roof over your head, you have shelter, you have food, you have just the basic needs of life. There are a lot of people in this world that don't have that. And when you could be grateful for the simple things, and just like the other day I wrote modern transportation, right? I was grateful for modern transportation to get me somewhere quickly. Those things matter. Gratitude matters.
Hey guys, real quick, the only way this show grows, the only way we continue to bring on bigger and better guests is if you guys rate, review, and share the show. So if you could take 2 seconds or the click of the thumb to review on Apple or Spotify, it will mean the world to me. But more importantly, we'll be able to reach more entrepreneurs and more real estate investors and help them build wealth through this podcast. Now back to the show. And one of the things that I like to talk about is the body, right? Like physical fitness. I always say, like, all these things that we do to buy more real estate, invest, build wealth, relationships, even, like all this stuff, none of it matters if you don't have your fitness, you don't have your health, right? And so for me personally, I was not always like this, but I would say, last year was the first year I really started prioritizing my health. So first thing in the morning, I go into the gym, I get a workout in, because they say, like, hey, if it's a priority, you should do the things that are most important first, right? Because at the end of the day, there's a million excuses not to go into the gym, not to get that workout in. So now first thing in the morning, I go into the gym, crush a workout, shower, come into the office, and I feel great. Like, the energy, I get a fucking high off of it. It's amazing. But what are some techniques to, kind of level up in that body bucket?
I mean, so we have a 30-day challenge on our website on top1percenter.com, and it's a free challenge. You go in and you sign up for 5 different tasks that you're going to do every morning. It's your first hour, right? And so if you need to wake up an hour earlier to do it, you got to do it. But it's plugging in this hour, which will shape your life, which is number one, waking up and being intentional with what you put in your body, right? Most people just don't even think about what they're putting in their body even. So being intentional with your meal plan or what you're putting into your body in the morning. Number 2 is 30 minutes of exercise, 15 minutes of stretching. So you got a 30-minute exercise, 15 minutes of stretching. And then you get a free 30-day challenge from me and Braun that just shows up in your email of just some kind of book or some kind of lesson that we're teaching you is fueling the mind, right?
Hmm.
And then the last thing is journaling, and actually writing down your thoughts, writing down your goals, being intentional with what thoughts or actions you want to take with the stuff you're learning. People that listen to this podcast, they move on with their lives tomorrow without writing anything down. They're not going to be able to apply anything they've learned. They're just, listening and they're hearing, but they're not applying anything. So you got to be able to learn and fuel the mind, but then you also have to write and take action.
Hmm.
And so I would say if there's one thing that people can do and focus on with physical health is be intentional with all that, put it into your daily routine, in your morning routine, and start taking action with it.
I think so you got to think about it. Everyone has a morning routine, whether they know it or they don't, right?
Mhm.
Everyone pretty much does the same thing every morning for the most part. It's being intentional about that. I read a book called The Miracle Morning. I don't know if you've heard of that book.
Yeah. Al, who's the author? Al something, Helroyd?
Yeah, Hal Elrod.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. That book actually transformed my life at the time. I was going through a really interesting time in life with job and that kind of thing and family, and read that book, and it completely transformed who I am. And so like that morning, if you can take it serious and be intentional about getting everything done for yourself in the morning first, you can then give the most valuable thing we have on this earth, which is time. You can then give that to the people that you need to the rest of the day, because you're not thinking, I need to get this done for me. I need to get this done for me. I need to get this done for me. No, you got all your stuff done in the morning. It's done. It's over. Now you can freely give that to other people.
Yeah.
And then you're no longer a nuisance. No one feels like you're a nuisance when someone asks for your help and you're like, oh, they can tell, right? Like, okay, I'll give you the help, but they can tell if you really don't want to do it. But if you can freely, like, sure, I'm all yours. Sure. Like to your family, your friends, your job, your employer, whatever it is, if you can freely give your time to them, then yeah, I mean, you'll find success starts happening like crazy, because people want to be with you. They want to attach themselves to you. So that morning routine, I think if you can be intentional about that and getting everything done that is most important to you in the morning before you start your day, life gets really good.
No, I like that. And then what about the people? I think this is one of the most important things in terms of just business and real estate and building wealth is it's really who you know. I always say, like, if you're not making the money you want to make, you're not shaking enough hands.
100%.
I love that.
If you want to see what your life's going to be like in 5 years, it's the books you read and the people that you're associated with.
That's
right?
good. That's good.
That's the person you will be in 5 years. So we put people in there because same thing. One, we have built a sales culture that relationships are so important. Some of these, Bron and I have been working together for 18 years now. That's a strong relationship. There's high trust there. A lot of these guys that I've taken from 20-year-olds in college and teaching them how to make professional income, I've worked with them now 12 to 15 years, in these relationships. So many people, they forget to work on their relationships, and that's not just work relationships, but there's also people in your lives that you think that being friends with them on social media, you think liking their posts once in a while and stuff like that is maintaining a relationship. But you got to be intentional with your relationships as well. Sending text messages and showing appreciation to people, or telling people you're thinking about them, down to your family. I got 4 kids. Bron has 4 kids, and we're super intentional with our relationships with our wives. We're super intentional with the relationships with our children. It's cliche to schedule the date night and that kind of stuff with your wife, but we schedule date night,
Yeah, that's good.
we make a priority for that.
One of my favorite quotes is hang out with people that are intentional about how they hang out, or spend time with people who are intentional about how they spend time.
Yep.
It makes sense. So you said with your wife, you guys schedule date nights, and what else?
So we always do date night, and it's always something creative. It's always something that we haven't done before. So we're new restaurants, going to the rodeos, downtown Dallas, whatever it is, just something fun, spontaneous, and different. But then focusing on your children, right? Your relationships with your kids is so vital. And again, if you're not intentional with it, you can get really caught up with work. You can get caught up with health and fitness and everything else that's going on in your life. You got to schedule time with your children and be intentional with those relationships, and scheduling one-on-one time with them. Because if you got 4 kids, it's really easy to think, hey, I'm a good dad to 4 kids. But there's a one-on-one aspect that you need to separate time with them and go spend that time with your children.
Yeah,
And
I love
form
that.
those relationships. All of this, like Bron said, all of this does not matter how much money you make. If your health disappears when you're 45 and you're going to lose it all. Like what, none of it matters at that point.
Got a good friend of mine, really good friend of mine. Him and the guy he works with they're both in insurance. They make millions, right? Two different contrasts. My buddy, he will not allow more on his plate with work if it's going to take up the time that he has with his family. And his coworker, he has family too, but unfortunately he's lost the relationship he has with all of his kids because it was just work. And now he's looking back and he's just like, I wish I would have never done that. And that's why intentionally being with your life and being balanced is key in more areas than just one.
I agree. And I also feel like if you separate and have a good balance, you separate your personal life with your work life, and have a good balance with it, I feel like the hours that you're actually working, you can be much more productive and have a lot more output if you would.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, I got to put in 60 hours a week. Well, it's like, how many of those 60 hours are you actually really moving the needle?
Yeah.
If you actually really break it down, you're probably not moving the needle more than 50% of those hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I sat down with one of my guys, our sales guys, and have you heard of time blocking?
Yes.
Yeah. So and taught him the principle of time blocking, and his production from 1 week to the next doubled just because he's like, I need to set it. If I don't get it done at the exact time because it's on my calendar, but if I have a block, I'm going to do this for 1 hour. So he said a couple of things he was going to do for that period of time. And we report each week on our production, and it doubled. It was crazy.
I love that. Dude, I live by the calendar. So if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's like a little thing, it's like, just put it on the calendar. Like you said, time block it. And then boom, there you go. All of a sudden stuff gets done, you know? I love that. So I want to switch gears a little bit. So you guys obviously did $100 million in sales revenue last year. You mentioned you're going to do $120 million this year. What kind of product are you guys selling?
So we sell smart home and solar.
Okay.
So residential, door to door, smart home and solar. We've learned over the years that the best way to sell this is face to face with the customer.
Okay.
You know, solve their problems door to door. You know, overcome their objections direct to home, and be able to sit down at their table and kind of find a solution for all our customers.
And so, what's the pitch? Is the first pitch the solar? Or is it the whole home solution? How does that?
We lead with smart home. So
Smart home. Okay.
Yeah, right now, you know, everybody wants doorbell cameras. Everybody wants outdoor cameras. You know, they want these smart home solutions. Nobody wants to go to Best Buy and spend $1,500 on cameras and then come home and have to install them yourself. And so we're kind of a one-stop shop for all these solutions. You can get smart thermostats, smart locks, smart cameras, everything set up in your house. And it's all consumer financing. So they can get whatever their dream setup professionally installed. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to install it.
No money down.
No money down. And they can get this system that they would have probably went and spent $5 or $6 grand at Best Buy. And now they're just paying a small monthly fee, you know, for that subscription, for that service, with a lifetime warranty and lifetime service on there. So we're really just problem solvers when we go to customers' doors. Most customers are already thinking about this. They want this as a solution. They just don't know where the answers are. So we're knocking on their doors, breaking preoccupation, and letting them know that we're here with an offering to solve that solution.
Yeah, I love that. What's the key to doing $100 million in sales?
I mean,
that's no slouch of a number.
Yeah, it's a big number, and it kind of baffles me that it's gotten to this size, right? Because when I got started, it was all with the mindset that I'm gonna come make 20 grand in a summer, right? Mm-hmm. And so for me, to grow and scale something to $100,000, it comes down to your people, and it comes down to your systems and relationships with those people, and the culture, right? And so you have this culture that's retaining people, and what's beautiful about it is everybody kind of gets into the system just to make money, right? Mm-hmm. They want to increase their income, so they get in here and they want to make 50 grand in a summer, 100 grand. They have these aspirations to make real money for the first time in their lives, and then it's our role as mentors to take them and say, hey, this can be a lot more for you. You can actually learn how to train, hire, and develop your own people and grow a team. And so we have people that have never been in management or leadership, and we need to inspire them, lead them, and mentor them into being actually sales leaders and teaching them how to retain their people and train their people and develop their own people. And we've been able to do that over the years, where we have developed leaders and not just developing sales guys, mm-hmm. you know, is actually training them to develop leaders. But also Grant Cardone calls it the golden handcuffs. You know, you got to put them in the golden handcuffs, which means the opportunity is better here with us than it is to leave and go get a promotion somewhere else or go seek a different position somewhere else. Our people truly believe if they keep learning and growing with us, that they'll make more money next year and they'll make more money the following year because they're growing in personal sales, but they're also growing with their team and, you know, getting more production out of their own teams.
Dude, I love that.
I think the other key, I think you mentioned it, but I think to answer and to echo what Adam said, I guess, but a short version as well, find good people to scale to 100 million. We learned we can only sell a certain amount of accounts personally, but you have to be able to scale. And in order to be able to scale, you have to find the right people. And maybe they're not the right people at the time, but you have to be able to mentor them, train them, and get them to where they can then now lead people. You have to have leaders if you want to scale, and you can't scale without them.
I agree, man. Hiring is everything. We're hiring a director role right now, and I told Lauren on the team, I'm like, we got it. We can't miss with this hire. Like, we got to get it right. So excited about it. But to your point, I mean, hiring great people is massive, and you want people to stick around too.
Yes.
You know, I don't want the constant turnover. Like, I want to take care of people, and I want them to stay.
Dude, I love. I mean, I know we were chatting a little bit earlier, but dude, I love your concept of bringing in the people in your business and giving them some type of, you know, equity asset, whatever it is, to create that. I mean, just create sticky people, right? And they love your business model because you're giving them a piece of what you want most, right? I love that. I think that's so awesome.
That's been a big piece of our model is once you get in the leadership and management, you're an equity owner. You become a partner in that model, and you want to see the company thrive. And it's a publicly traded company, you know, and so it's cool to see people take full ownership in this model and the aspirations and growth of the company, and they're bought in long term. You know, they're here to stay, and they're here to grow their careers around that.
I love that. I love that.
There's true equity to be earned. They'll never want to leave.
100%. Whether it's profit sharing or you know, a slice of equity in deals or whatever you're doing within your business. I think for the folks that are moving the needle for you, the leadership group, you take care of them, and they're going to take care of you. It creates an alignment of interest for the deals to go well. And I think it's a win-win for everyone. And also, I think most importantly is, like, you know, you take care of folks, they're going to stick around forever. And I want people that are going to stick around forever, you know?
You know, that is, as a leader, right, of any business, if you own a business or you're running a business like yours, Rich, it doesn't matter what business is, you are directly showing what is possible in this business, right? And you got to be the most dependable person in that room that's able to show them what is possible. And your vision, their vision is only as big as what your vision is. And so for us to be able to grow this to 100 million, we've always believed it can get this big. And they have to know that they fit in your plan, that, hey, if I strap on with Adam and Braun and we go on this ride, it's going to get to 100 million. I believe in their vision. And then you got to be the leader to be able to take them on that way, and leader in all aspects of life. So if you don't have your life in order and you're not a great leader, you're not going to have followers, right? And so personally, you know, we weren't great leaders when we got started, but we've learned and developed and become great leaders through this. And we have people that are willing to follow us to 120 million, to 150 million, and so forth.
Yeah.
You said something earlier that sparked this, but for anybody that's a business owner out there or is trying to incentivize their people to do the right thing in their mind to scale and to grow, one of the principles that I've learned over the past 15 years, and more recently over the past 5 than anything, is to attach pay to behavior. If you're attaching pay, I've learned this lesson the hard way. If you attach pay to a behavior that you're not intentional about, that you want them to do, then you're literally just throwing money away. Until you can align pay and behavior, it's going to be very difficult to scale. Once you can align that pay and behavior really well, man, it will, because if they're only going to get paid for what you want them to do, then it's going to go, I mean, you're going to get a lot of production out of it.
I agree. Alignment of interest is everything. And so, you know, that's why, you know, the girls that are, you know, running, self-managing a lot of these assets that we have, you know, they have a slice of ownership in these deals that we're buying. And I know, hey, like, if they have an alignment of interest for these deals that go well, guess what? They're probably going to perform a little bit better. But also, I don't want to do this alone. You know what I mean? It's like, a lot of things in life are more fun to do it with others. And I want to share this with others too, especially the ones that prove themselves, So, but hey, listen, I appreciate you guys coming on the show. This has been great. Where can listeners get in touch with you guys if they want to learn more about the top 1%er and maybe this future mastermind that you guys may be rolling out soon?
Mastermind's coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hit us up on Top 1%er official on Instagram. 54,000 followers on Instagram, 200,000 followers on TikTok. If you go to Top 1%er on TikTok, you can reach us. We'll respond back. We'll get a hold of you.
Love it. Appreciate you guys. They're Adam and Braun. I'm Rich Summers. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.